All right, and we are live. See how quick this fills up. It's Friday afternoon, early afternoon, done with my training. And since most of you who show up in here show up after the fact, you watch it later, please remember to subscribe down below. Please click a like down below. Please join my work army, channel memberships. Follow me on Instagram. Here's my Amazon affiliate link. And we'll let this fill up. Hey guys, don't waste your first post, by the way, saying hello, because you won't be able to ask a question for a minute or two. All right. You guys a little longer to fill up. Not really good questions. Alex, no one cares how my day is going so far. No one really cares. It doesn't matter. You already saw my blog. That's what matters. How's my training going? And you already saw that. Thoughts on weighted calisthenics? Well, that's like 50% of my training, Mike. So clearly, I think a hell of a lot of it. A barbell back squat is weighted calisthenics, right? Weighted chin up, weighted calisthenics. Weighted glute ham raise, weighted calisthenics, right? Some of the most important exercises that I prescribe fall in that category. Therefore, I clearly think they are amazing. When is your UK return tour? I will never set foot in another country besides the United States unless Texas becomes our own country for the rest of my life willingly. Hi, Jason. Realize you were right about main gaining. Why don't they ban people like Greg from the internet? Because they won't. They just won't. Hey, coach, I recently got a DEXA scan. I was around 19% body fat at 5'9", 170. Would it be worth it to keep slow bulking? And my goal is strength or time to cut down a bit. Bro, you're 170. You don't need to cut. Keep slow bulking. Good Lord. You're 170 pounds. Worry about cutting when you get to like 200. And you need a long time to get to 200 from where you are. Coach, you said before many times that maxing out is safe, yet now you're saying, yeah. Well, Benny, maxing out under normal conditions, I mean, is safe. It beats you up, though. But here's my question, Benny. What's the point? If every study shows that doing 92% of your one rep max gives you the exact same training effect, why wouldn't you just hit a training max? Then you don't have as much to recover from. Right? You don't have as much to recover from. We're talking about a clean max too. And I hate to be this way, but 90% of you kids out there, I tell you to hit a training max and you won't hit a training max. You'll hit some abomination to where you grind for 12 seconds and then shimmy the weight up and think it was a max. No, that was heavier than your max. That wasn't a max. That was a cheat lift. You see the difference? A one rep max is lifting with one smooth movement. No breakdown in form, takes you about 3 seconds to lift. That's a one rep max. Okay. The weight never stops moving. You see Malinichev squat over 1,000 pounds and break a world record. Yes, it was pretty and smooth when he did it. That's a one rep max. Yeah, I don't need to max at meets. I don't have to. I just need to break records. I need a PR at meets. I don't see what you're not understanding. I don't understand what's not computing. Again, all out psyched up maxes because you're psyched up in meets. That's a different story, isn't it? Okay. Just lifting a really heavy single that you can do with good form is not the same thing. But the problem is, if I endorse and say to do that, again, you guys won't do it. My own clients won't do it who are paying me. So you guys on the internet aren't going to do it. I watch every day people's videos of them, quote unquote, hitting a training max. You motherfuckers will bounce a weight for 12 seconds in the middle and lift your ass off the bench and call it a training max. I'd be honest. Men have too big of an ego. You just can't let them max out outside of supervision. I'm sorry. It's just a reality. Get rid of this troll. How should I work in conditioning while lifting full body 3 times a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday? I don't know. Work on your conditioning in between. Or drag a sled. Do some GPP. Start slow, build up. Do you think there is a significant difference in tricep growth from closed grip bench and medium grip? I don't know. Maybe. If I'm overweight and don't want to gain any more weight, should I cut and then bulk rather than stay at the same weight and try to gain strength? Well, if you want to make gains, you should never stay at the same weight. Should never stay at the same weight. So what are your choices? Bulk or cut? You should always be bulking or cutting unless you are happy with where you are, or you're in a life situation where you know you can't recover and make progress. You know, you're working an 80-hour work week. You have a newborn triplets or something. Okay, I get it. Outside of that, if your goal is to improve, you need to be bulking or cutting. Yeah, back to the other point, Benny. I mean, the truth is, saying it's safe to max versus what you guys do online when I tell you it's safe to max are not the same thing. They're not the same thing. That's the problem. It really is. I mean, again, I see it every day. I see it every day. Even in groups of people I'm not coaching. Oh, this was a RPE 8 single. They couldn't even lift it. Like they couldn't even complete the lift for good form. It was beyond their 1 rep max. But they'll seriously post it up. Oh, RPE 8, which meant, you know, that 500, they could have done 550 or 600 if it's an RPE 8. But they really couldn't lift the 500. Can another variation be done on boring with big sets, or does it always need to be the main list? Well, Marco, do you have a reason to change it? It doesn't always have to be. But here's my question. Do you actually have a legitimately good reason to do so? Because if you don't, you're going to make less problems. No, Lane, but I'm going to ban you for being a stupid troll asking me stuff like that. All right. Speaking of psyching up for Mac's, it would follow you're not a fan of ammonias. Yeah, I don't use ammonias. At 58, I stiffen up too much when lifting heavy. Get your programming on point. Would you increase training maxes on a great 1+ week even with suboptimal 5+, 3+? Maybe not. It better be a damn good 1+ week, right? It better be good. If you only hit 5 and only hit 3 on the 5-3-1 and you get to the 1+ week, you better hit 5 reps if you want to increase the training max. Hey, coach, is there a recommended upper threshold for intra-session volume? Yeah, but there's wiggle room. It's going to vary from person to person. Now, here's a question I would ask you. How much volume do you honestly really think that you need? What are the signs of quad weakness on a squat? It takes a trained eye to spot that one. It's not as common as you think, actually. It's probably the rarest weak link you're going to see. It's usually the rarest weak link you're going to see. And it's by determining how the form breaks when you miss it just above parallel. Okay. Depends on how much forward lean you have when you miss it just above parallel. Like, does your chest cave? Or do you get 6 inches above parallel and then you immediately drop straight down with your chest still up? That's what you're looking for a quad weakness. Your back stays in perfect extension, and the weight, you just collapse immediately straight down with no grinding. But is it quad weakness, or you just need to get stronger? Jason, what are your favorite tricep exercises trying to hypertrophy my weak points? I don't know a lot of them. Full range of motion extensions, press down, close grip presses, dips. I pretty much stiff leg the same weight as a conventional deadlift. I have very weak squat relatively. Is this a quad weak? Your quads are probably weak, definitely, and you're struggling to engage them. Your technique is probably bad on your conventional. You're not actually using leg drive. So it may not be so much of a quad weakness as you're not doing the lift correctly. You're basically still stiff legging it. All right. We have over 3 times as many people watching as we have likes. So I'm going to stop reading and answering questions till we get a few more likes. Get some engagement here, people. Come on. Foods with the highest satiety. It varies. Protein, though, top of the list. Vegetables. Certain carbs have higher satiety than others, like potatoes, watermelons. Melons in general tend to be the highest. But in general, fiber and protein are your friends for satiety. More water. Is there a reason for using wrist straps when I don't see any difference while using them? I can lift the same weights with or without them. Wear and tear on your wrist, fatigue, recovery. Right? Your wrists get less beat up, you're going to recover quicker session to session. That's why we wear them. Jason, would you say touch and go bench has any benefits over pause? Maybe the stretch reflex? No, I don't think it has any benefits. Mm-mm. Benefits your ego. On 5-3-1 for the bench, I got 7-5-3 for the top sets. Would you wait for the next cycle? If I'm leaning out right now, if you're leaning out, you're cutting, I wouldn't increase them. Just leave them there. If you're bulking, maybe a tiny, tiny increase, but it better be small with only 2 reps over each one. Hey, Jason, are belt squats more focused on the quad adductors in the squat? I've tried them and I'm much weaker than on back squats. No, I wouldn't say they're more focused. They just remove your back from the equation. The work is the same, though. And everyone's weaker on them. Yeah, you're not going to move as much weight on the belt squat. Well, Andrew, that's nice. That sounds a little trolly, maybe, possibly. How many seconds is too long for rest pause at the top of a squat before another rep? Like just 5 seconds? Yeah, that's too much, dude. 1 to 2 seconds to reset, get a deep breath again, and then go. Is a leg press a good replacement for squat? Powerlifting is not a goal. No, not really. You don't want to get strong. You don't want to be athletic. Who said anything about powerlifting? Do you think all my clients are powerlifters? You don't think my boxers, MMA fighters, and tennis players all back squat? Do you want to be strong and athletic or not? Like, I don't know what sort of channel you think I run. Thoughts on 6'5" Creedmoor? It's great for punching paper, long distances. I question the terminal ballistics for hunting or anything. I think there's harder hitting cartridges for game animals. Even for long distances, it wouldn't be my first choice. It's a great paper puncher, though. Even out at 1,000 yards. It cuts wind really, really well. Great ballistic coefficient. Hi, Jason. Hope you're doing good, buddy. What do I do when I get cramps every time I do ab crunches? You do towards the end of the session? Could it be weak abs? Probably electrolyte imbalance. Are there any benefits to doing sets of greater than 10 for big exercises? Yeah, I mean, if you want to increase endurance. I don't think we necessarily need to do that, though. Is training to failure bad even on small accessory movements done one last final set? Not complete failure, but one rep from failure. That's not failure, Marco. Pick one. You can't say training to failure, but not training to failure. Which is it? If you have stop right there, but you completed the rep, that's not failure. But you're talking about muscle failure there, and then on big lifts, I'm talking about technical failure. I don't want to see technical failure on a barbell lift. What's more important for punching power, chest, or delt muscle? Both. Hey, Jason, I'm hoping to work from home and not go back to the office for the rest of my career. Working from home gives you flexibility. You enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoy it. Jason, is 15 sets of direct bicep tricep work too much, even if walking and sleeping a lot? It might not be. Bicep, it may or may not be. Triceps, probably okay. I mean, no, again, direct work, are you counting your benching towards that? You should be. I don't understand this direct work thing. I think that's a weird term. It's like the deadlift isn't direct work for your glutes and hamstrings. Are you sure about that? Right? Guys come up with silly shit like that when they really mean single joint exercises instead of direct. Well, those are direct work. You don't think they count towards the volume? You don't think your benching count towards at all towards your tricep volume? It does. You know, trust me, you're doing reps of 300 pounds on a bench press. There are muscles involved in moving that weight. Your bones aren't moving the weight. Your tendons aren't moving the weight. Your muscles are actually doing it. You better figure out what muscles are doing it. And you better count that towards your volume. What would be an ab exercise you'd recommend on 531? I recommend the same ab exercise for everyone. I like hanging leg raises. I like weighted crunches. I like weighted planks. I really like hanging leg raises, though, as you probably figured out. Does strength training have an impact on skeletal muscle and bone density, or is it mostly down to genetics? No, it affects both. In fact, strength training does more for bone density than anything else does. Your heavier work is better for bone density than your higher rep work is. Do you think an average height male can bulk and cut to 180 and be relatively strong? Yes. Why did you stop doing pause deadlifts? What do you mean stop? I've done some as an assistance lift for a few workouts. They were never a major part of my training. So what did you mean stop? I don't need them right now. I prefer to do normal deadlifts and then hypertrophy the muscles involved with it, the supplemental work. I'm not super big on actual assistance exercises. You guys have probably picked up on that. I occasionally use them for some lifters for weak points, but I don't build programs around assistance work. I build it around primary lifts and accessories. I think assistance movements are somewhat overrated in their carryover. I know too many guys who are world record level lifters who don't really focus on assistance work. They do their primary movements and then they hypertrophy everything around it. Hi, Jason. I really enjoy your content. Thank you for the advice and motivation. You're welcome. Yo, Jason, are kettlebell swings and push-ups every minute on the minute for 10 minutes every day? I don't know about the push-ups every minute on the minute. The kettlebell swings, again, every minute on the minute. Why don't you just do rounds of submaximal stuff, right? Body weight stuff. You're going to do body weight stuff. It doesn't have to be timed on the minute. Are you trying to program your GPP? You're programming it. It's not GPP anymore. But kettlebell swings, absolutely. Kettlebell swings are great for GPP. Fantastic. Hey, Jason, does anyone you know clients train with surgical hardware still in them from past surgery? No, I know people who do. I know people who compete with hardware still in them in powerlifting. Like not necessarily even lifting injuries like car wrecks and stuff like that. They have pins from breaks. Tips on lateral pelvic tilt. I've noticed it in my squat and deadlift. Fix it if it's a problem. If I do 10 weekly sets of pressing and 5 sets of tricep extensions, are those 15 sets for triceps? Yeah, I'd count that as 15 sets for triceps. And I think that's a good baseline for most guys, unless you're specializing. Jason, do you still think the chin-up works the long head of the tricep? Well, there's no question about that. Like, that's not an opinion. Does it activate it? Now, the question is that activation enough to hypertrophy it? I'm 50-50 on that. I could go either direction. But does it activate it? Well, the data doesn't lie. Of course it does. Thoughts on range of motion for hanging leg raises and possibly adding weight? I can't decide on going past parallel. No, go higher. You can't go toes the bar for 15 reps. You shouldn't even be worried about adding weight. Did you put your friend Nico on conjugate or 5-3-1 on his squat list? No, we just did some concurrent periodization with different rep ranges. Do you think the good morning is overrated for squat or deadlift carryover? I don't think it's overrated. I think it works just fine. I think the issue is once you get really strong at it, it eats into your recovery that you could be using to squat or deadlift more. Is a weight vest really better than just using a backpack? In my experience, yes. Do I need a reverse diet? No, reverse diet is a scam. It is a scam. You can go back to your surplus immediately. Do you have any clients that play football/soccer? Not at this time, no. What is the leanest you think a 5'9" guy should get down to? I'm currently 180 pounds. That I can't tell you because that's genetic. I don't know at what point you're going to start having problems. Right? There's genetics involved. I can't answer that. Do you recommend training belt? Why? Which type should anyone get? Yeah, I recommend training in a belt. Yep. Lifting belts are great. Any of the ones that are nice and thick in the front, same size all the way around. Minimum 10 millimeter thickness. Either get a lever or a prong belt. I like my Ingers. I have 2 different Inger Forevers. Jason, do you think 5x10 squats and 5x20 leg extension? No, why are you doing leg extensions? You see me prescribe leg extensions? Thoughts on RPE and reps in reserve? I think RPE is garbage. I think reps in reserve is fine, and I program it all the time. RPE is too ambiguous. That's just like I described earlier. Well, this was an RPE 8 lift, and it was more than their 1 rep max. They couldn't even lock it clean. Come on, it's a bullshit. RPE is bullshit. You can just make it whatever you want it to be. At least reps in reserve, you have some ability to quantify it. Meaning if you're doing any reps in reserve, every rep is going to be perfect. There's going to be no grinders. You're going to know. Someone watching you on camera knows. Right? They know if you lied about it. I can watch my lifters and tell if they lied. Look at bar speed. You can look at grinding. The amount of volume Mike did when he did the vlog is average or a lot, so not that was high. Should I rotate my accessories on 5-3-1 every 3 weeks? No. You don't need to do that. Any use for direct rec fem work? Well, you need to define that. What do you mean? I know what the rectus femoris is. I don't know what you mean by direct rectus femoris work. Like a deadlift? Conventional deadlift works the hell out of the rectus femoris. I love conventional deadlifts. So you see the point? More frequency better for a smaller lifter? Sorry, my bad. No, not really. I can only lift like 5 kilograms more with a belt on deadlifts. Is this normal? Yeah. Hey, Jason, is it possible to hire you to write my program for the next couple weeks without having you as a constant coach? I know my max lifts. No, I don't offer that service anymore. I used to. I don't do it now. I only do coaching, brother. You're a legend, Jason. Showed my dad some of your videos about bulking, and he totally agrees. He said he could tell you were a tough guy. Andrew, bro, you need to bring it down a notch. Okay. Andrew, I'm not actually autistic enough to fall for this type of spiel. All right, bring it down a notch, please. Thank you. Let's get the likes up, people. 60 viewers and only 25 likes. You got a point there, man. I feel like I should get up and go refill my water glass and come back, and there better be some fucking likes. I'll be back in a minute. All right, that's a little bit better there. You guys saw the bicep, my tiny ass biceps. All right. Well, there's signs of bad training program or coaching in terms of progress. It feels like I've been stalled for the last month. Well, it might be a sign. If you're feeling beat up, feeling fatigued. I ran ice cream fitness 5x5 and got strong, then went back to a bro split. Now weak AF again. Do I return to an option? No, go on an intermediate program. Lee, I appreciate the donation, brother. How do we count DE effort sets in terms of weekly volume 10 sets? Oh, Marco, man, I gave up trying to figure that one out, man. I racked hours and hours and hours of my brain trying to figure that one out, and I just gave the fuck up. I just estimate it. Like, good luck with that, man. That's the sort of question that'll keep you laying in bed at night trying to figure out, and you won't ever get a workable answer. Fuck it, right? Just don't worry about it. Just estimate it. When you prescribe 60% 5x10 as the 60% of your true max or your training max, Jason, I know you speak highly on reverse hypers. Can you speak to the pros of doing these? I find your advice to really help me in my quest to become stronger, and I'm wondering if these will help me. I feel like they're a great recovery tool, right? I feel like they're a great. Dude, don't post that GZQL LGBT alphabet people name. I hate that name. I will never look at that program just because the name is stupid. So please don't ask me about that one. Just delete your comment, motherfucker. I've said that before in other live streams. If I can't read out loud the name of a program easily, I'm sure as hell not going to go research it or answer your questions about it. Whoever wrote it needs AIDS or something. All right. Back to the reverse hyper. Great recovery tool for the low back. Great for building work capacity. I like it for glute development also, to be honest. I feel like it's one of the best glute exercises I've ever used. You know, it's up to you if you want to invest in one, though. Jason, what do you think of training calves for a point or mostly genetic? Well, what are you trying to do with your calves? I don't know. I mean, it's generally not necessary for you to do real calf training to win powerlifting meets or to win a Super Bowl or to win an MMA fight. So I'm kind of wondering, what are you doing with calves? You know, if you're going to bodybuild, you probably need to get sight shoot your calves anyways, or get implants like they all do if you don't have the genetics. So I don't know what you're trying to do with your calves. What's your stance on RPE? I don't like RPE. I like reps in reserve. I don't like RPE because no one can use it right anyways. It's too ambiguous. Yeah, but Marco, no one uses RPE that way. Then if it meant 2 reps in reserve, then how come every time someone says, oh, I did an RPE 8 single, they couldn't even lock it out? Right? It usually means heavier than your 1 rep max. If I were to use the internet and videos people upload to groups, RPE 8 means more than your max. It means you're going to hit your deadlift and drag it up your shins and fail the lockout. That's usually what it means in my experience. Coach, can we ever use different percentages for the big 305-3-1 back off work? Yeah, there's other templates. But the thing is, you need to not be hitting failure. That's the main thing. I mean, Benny, think about that. Even now, when you see me doing my work mode stuff with the heavy singles, my 5s are in the 70 to 75% range after. Notice I don't grind any reps. They're all quality reps. Best hamstring exercise my gym has a lying hamstring. The laying hamstring curl is garbage. It has too much active insufficiency. If you don't have a really well-designed hamstring curl, look, I'm going to be honest. Glute ham device or Romanian deadlifts are probably your best choices. Hamstrings tight are causing issues in low bar squatting when going heavier. Suggestions, Romanian deadlifts. Apology, Jason. What program would you recommend a late novice run to? I'm looking at her grade school LP or 531 board. I think 531 boring big will be better for you. Is the reason why we press twice a week because there are smaller muscles and it takes less time to recover compared to the bigger muscles with more surface area? No. I mean, heroin junkie to lifting junkie, that's how 531 is structured. Well, true, Max. I don't allow criticism of me on my channel, so bye. Bye. You're gone. See, I very calmly banned you without having any anger. Is the reason why we press? Yeah, let's come back over that. No, it's the way it's written. I only press once a week right now. A lot of my clients only press once a week. Just has to do with total volumes and everything we're doing. Do you program the overhead press for clients who don't care about having a big overhead press, or do other lifts do its job? If they don't care about it, I don't. But if they have an obvious delt weakness on their benching, we're going to do incline and/or overhead press. Hope you have a happy Easter. I'm Muslim, but pray for your health anyway for the holiday. I actually appreciate the fact that even though you're Muslim, you have respect for my religious choice. Thank you. That's actually appreciated. Matthew, who I've spoken to before, is Glock 35 a good alternative to the Glock 41? A Glock 41 restricted in my state. Did you get rid of your 35? No, I still have a 35. I still have a Glock 35. I don't have it readily handy right now. It's locked up, so I can't just pick it up and show it to you like I would my 41. But yes, I still have it, and I like the Glock 35. Just be aware that the 40 S&W is kind of a dying cartridge. It's lost popularity. I mean, I'm probably going to go over to all 9mm eventually. How do I know if I'm intermediate or late novice? Can you make linear progress? Can we run Isaac's program? Yeah, possibly. RPE was always a confusing concept to me because ego can get involved. Yep, that's the problem. Jason, in the past, you talked about weight training to build self-worth confidence. Have you experienced it also helps with anxiety? Yeah, absolutely. And one of the guys I was chatting with, one of the other masters lifters at my meet, is actually part of a group that has them do strength training and powerlifting. He had in a group where they had started just for vets with PTSD. But then the counselors involved started realizing they could expand it to other people because anyone who had experienced trauma got the same benefit. So their group actually expanded to where, people who have various forms of things from childhood abuse, sexual assault, things like that, they all got the same benefits from it. It's very therapeutic. I think strength training is extremely therapeutic for a lot of trauma-based issues. It's my opinion. I am not a mental health professional. I haven't followed YouTube in a while. What has been the reason for the transition from conjugate to 5? I'm not even on 531 now. It's the issue is that not everyone is psychologically suited for conjugate. Not everyone's going to do the equipment buy-in. And there's nothing wrong with conjugate as a system. It works great. I mean, I still have elite lifters who use conjugate. Emma still we do conjugate in all her blocks. My gym doesn't have a reverse hyper. Hyper extension is a good hamstring. Yeah, they're good hamstring exercise. They're just not a replacement for the reverse hyper. Sorry, coach. I was only trying to be nice and compliment. You didn't realize calling someone. No, Andrew. What I mean is when you guys go overboard, it's almost as if you guys, oh, whatever, Andrew, you weren't going to donate. Now you're just a troll. Bye. I'll just get rid of you. Feel like I'm not gaining anything from the DE method anymore. What's another option you would suggest instead? Why don't you just drop conjugate then? If conjugate's not working for you, then rotate systems. When to add weight on standard pyramid training? I don't recommend pyramid training. Jason, you ever consider doing a strength training podcast? Dude, I'm so busy with all my other stuff. And unless it's going to be financially worth my while, I don't see the point. I mean, am I going to get someone going to pay me a contract to do it? Like, how much money am I going to get? Because I already have all these other platforms. Coaching is most of my time and money. Then I have this channel, I mean, is there a reason for me to do a podcast? Do I have an incentive? What's my benefit? I've been following you for years, Coach. Really appreciate the free information as well as your ability to revise your own philosophies over the years. Well, we have to be able to revise our philosophies, right? We have to be able to. Otherwise, we're not being intellectually honest, are we? How long of a time do you think it's worth to try a program? I've been 3 months off in the summer. Let's say 6 months. I just stumbled across a gamer named Hyper winning a bench 415 despite weighing other. There's a lot of genetic factors probably involved. You need to make sure his lifts are real though too. Why is it every couple of years science-based guys try to find substitutes for the squat or the deadlift? Yeah, I don't know, because they're hard. They're hard, and people are always looking for hacks. They're looking for a cheat code, something to make things easier. Any recommendations for resuming leg training after an adductor tear? Should I wait until? Oh, you need to wait till it's healed. Comparison: a big cut takes longer to recover from than a small cut. Could it take the same logic to a muscle? I'm not really sure what you're asking there, brother. Jason, do I need a hip hinge exercise on my squat day if I do already do low bar? Um, Maybe not, but I mean, don't you have a deadlift day? If you have a deadlift day, that might be where you want to put some of your hip hinging. The deadlift's a hip hinge. What do you think of rerunning linear progression on a squat 3 times a week for a novelty effect for a short period? No. Whey protein, creatine, fish oil, vitamin D3 still the best and only supplements worth using. Um, I use those. I add different electrolytes and stuff. Right. I use potassium. Sometimes I'm not even needing to add magnesium right now. There's so much in my diet, but I add potassium and stuff. I mean, there are minerals and things that can help, but they're all needs based, really. I mean, they're all context based on what's already in your diet, even the ones that you listed. But those are generally good ones. I feel like the 531 boring big is not getting me results as an advanced lifter. Should I switch programs or what should I pick? I don't know. You got other options. I mean, this is why there's custom programming. It's why I do coaching. Your client program isn't pyramid training because they start with no, it's not. It's not pyramid training. No, that's just ramping up. They're not even like doing undulating reps like on pyramid training. Opinion on yoga for masters lifters. I think yoga is a waste of time. I think, do you want my religious stance or do you just want my? I'm a Christian. I think yoga is satanic. But that aside, and I never said I was a particularly good Christian. I cuss a lot. You guys fucking know that. I'm not perfect. That's why I have to be a Christian. All right. Opinion on yoga for masters lifters. I don't think it offers anything of value. I mean, even we set aside the other elements. I just don't see that it does anything. Would it be okay to only do 3 sets instead of 5 on the back off sets on boring but big? No, I don't know that I recommend that. No, Matt, I explain it in the vlogs all the time what I'm doing. I mean, it's the same sort of idea. It's still, heavy work, pump work. But I'm doing training maxes followed by program volume work. It's a similar concept, but it's a similar concept we would use with conjugate also, right, on the max effort days. But I train 3 days a week. I have a squat, bench, and deadlift day. What is the solution to deadlifting with hexagonal plates? My gym does it. You're just going to have to reset on every rep. Coach, you use MCT? No, I don't. I don't think they're a good idea. The quad takes longer to recover from than the delts due to surface area. No, that's not been supported by the research. How much potassium salt do you supplement per day? Probably 2 to 3 grams. How much magnesium and what forms do you take? Any glycine? I haven't really been taking much. I have a big amount of magnesium citrate. I probably have a kilo of it sitting there, but I'm not currently using it. Hello, Jason. You are a good Christian. Your biceps are not small. They're very big and good looking. I don't like when people put others down when they wish they was half of what you are. Well, Gregory, I appreciate that compliment, but I'll be honest with you. as far as being a better Christian, I have some work to do. I do have some work to do there. And I have to be honest with myself about that. Do you think powerlifting will ever become more mainstream? Like, would lifters be able to make a career? It's growing massively. I think it's going to keep growing. Do deadlifts work your quads? Yes. Do you believe keto is an anti-inflammatory diet? The data would suggest so. And a lot of people seem to have reduced inflammation for certain health issues on it, depending on how they do it. Jason, on conjugate programming, do you use 3x6? It really depends on the person, Ben. That gets complicated. It's individual based. I these days would, for most lifters, rather see 5x10 at lower intensities. Are you still using the ketogains element they sent you? I've been using it on workout days, pre-workout only. I haven't been using it on off days. I get a lot of salt in my diet. I've still been going through it. I only use the one pack. I just like how it tastes. It adds extra electrolytes to water, and it tastes good. Some of the flavors were better than others. Like, I'm not going to lie. The watermelon chocolate are really good. The mango was fantastic too. Like, the lemon is terrible. And I told Louis that, Louis, who owns the company, like, dude, the lemon's fucking awful. But the chocolate, right? The chocolate is great. Watermelon's great. But it is a nice flavor added to with all of it. Don't have access to a GHR reverse hyper. Can I cover all my bases in terms of hamstring work by rotating the GM and RDL block to block? I would put, if you don't have access to either one, I would put a lot of focus in the RDL personally. That's where I would put a lot of my work. Because of my medication, a good sleep schedule is hard to maintain. I forget to take it until afternoon, and then it kept me up into the night. Well, quit skipping doses. Why your estrogen levels are so high? Well, I don't know, Blue Hawk. But you enjoy your little band. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, troll. You just hired Ryan Dorsey to coach you. I'm sorry, you're not very smart. Is collagen beneficial for joints? Subject to debates. Thanks for reply. Good luck on the next comp. Yep, next comp will be easy. It's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to break my 3 state records without maxing, probably. I've already just broke them this week on camera easily. And I really am just using it as preparing for Worlds. I've already registered and paid for Worlds. So I just want another lift 3 months before Worlds, just for more practice. Because the USPA is super strict right now. And I need to make sure that I'm doing everything right. Because they're gonna be strict as hell with me at Worlds. They're not gonna cut me any slack. I already know that. So I better be on top of it. Hey, Coach, I'm getting ready to do some closed grip bench today. First time in about a year due to not having access to the right equipment. Should I ramp up to a max? No, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. You need to start light and build up. Admitting your weakness is a great Christian quality, unlike someone who's self-righteous. I appreciate that, Bunship, and I agree, and that's something I realize. I personally am of the opinion of the people who think that they're really great Christians and they brag about it. I question that. I'll just leave it at that. Like, we have flaws, dude. We all have flaws. Nobody in this world is perfect. I'm sure as hell not. How much is too large of a deficit in a deficit deadlift? Can you see any of it? You're not going to get carryover. There might be some hypertrophy benefits, but I'm going to say more than about 2 inches. The movement pattern is, you're going to get very, very little carryover that you're looking for in terms of movement pattern. Hey, Jason, I recently have been struggling with nerve pain down the legs pretty bad a month now. I don't know what to tell you there. You got to talk to a doctor. This is not my wheelhouse, right? I can't help you, unfortunately. Have you seen Joe Imbrimo, the Fullerton? I don't know who that is. I don't agree with everything he says, but he is a Christian and is a great alternative health information. Yeah, I don't know who he is, bro. What's your newbie lifter strength training in kilogram? I don't know. Just take whatever I say in pounds and divide it by 2.2. Hey, Jason, has your opinion changed on the reverse grip bench press? I think it's dangerous, and I don't think we should be doing it. I've said that for many years. I don't think that's a change of opinion. Jason, would you ever outline your gear cycles? Well, I was like to know, don't you see my hashtag natty, bro? Don't you see my hashtag natty? Everybody knows I'm natty. Although there is a rumor that going into meets, I'd like to use a gram of testosterone a week with 20 milligrams of Novadex a day. But since I'm natural, we know that that's not the case. Can we rely on the research studies on how much volume is needed? Depends on the study. They get a little nuanced, don't they? There's some definitely conflicting information study to study. You got to look at the larger trends in the studies. I really don't want to make powerlifting to become that big. It would be really boring. No, it's getting pretty big now. I don't think it'll be boring. Is eating MSG food bad for strength gains? No, it's going to be bad for bloat, but man, being bloated can actually definitely improve strength and leverages in the gym. Heavy nightmares on melatonin. Sometimes I even scream, should I lower? Yeah, lower the dose. Luke, I'll describe to you my average night sleeping. That's why I don't need to really watch movies or anything else at this point, since I take a high dose of melatonin. I get all the entertainment you could want. An average night for me involves, on melatonin, fighting a zombie horde with laser axe hands that shoot bullets out of them, and usually ends with me wrestling a zombie shark cyborg falling off of a cliff and then waking up. That would be an average night for me on the melatonin dose I take. And I'm not exaggerating or joking. I really do mean that's normal. The vivid, intense dreams where even when you realize you're dreaming, you can make all sorts of weapons out of your body, but you never have sex. Right? Even though it's vivid dreaming. They're never like wild sex dreams. It always involves zombies and lasers and cyborgs and Terminators riding on T-Rexes or Raptors. Reason I ask if I should work up to a max on the closed grip bench press is just to see. I mean, you could assess a mild training max, but I would ramp up to maybe just a heavy 5-rep set and base it on that. A non-failure, just one to where you're like, that was pretty heavy. And then build from there off of a program. Do you think high volume pressing is enough for triceps? I've seen to get elbow pain when benching and doing tricep work. That depends on the lifter. It depends on the lifter. I know guys who build massive triceps just benching. I'm not one of them. I have clients who do. It's going to be a genetic component. What is the recommended amount of volume to cut while cutting? Can I get away with only doing? I would assess you could probably do similar volumes, but if you start getting fatigued, you need to cut a few sets out. How far back in your YouTube catalog would you say is still accurate? You obviously don't listen. Yeah, don't listen to anything through that 5-year gap, because we just ignore it. Just ignore it. Coach, have you experienced coaching men with benign prostate hyperplasia? Not that I can think of. How much melatonin do you? I take 10 milligrams before bed every night. Is being a slow lifter an issue? My reps are sometimes 3 seconds when doing weights I can do for 8 reps. Yeah, that's way slow, dude. Maybe you should work on fixing that. Get a little bit more explosive. That's a little too slow. Do you suggest lifting on an empty stomach? Absolutely not. The research says eating before you train improves performance. The higher the satiety of the food, the better performance, irrespective of whether it's carbs, fat, or protein. Okay, that is what the data shows. It really is like that on melatonin. It's like I'm Anakin Skywalker getting my legs chopped off by Obi-Wan each time. Luke, I believe it, dude. I take melatonin year round. The vivid dreams, like you'll tell someone that and they're like, oh, you're kidding, it's not really like that. Then they go try to take 10 milligrams. They're like, holy shit, dude. So here's what I dreamed about last night. So there was this mutant alligator glowing from the radiation that was stalking my apartment building, but it was like from the game Portal with all these portals from room to room, and the alligator was jumping through them. Yeah, that's usually what it's like when they do it, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, how do you deal with this every night? I don't know. You just get used to it. That's just what your dreams are like when you're on melatonin. But the sleep quality is phenomenal. It's so great for recovery that it's worth it. How many times before lifting should I eat? I don't know. What? It's a damn shame, man. Like you haven't had offspring. You'd be a good father to role model for boys. Oh my God, I'm on a joke. Can you see me trying to raise children? Jesus. Oh my God. How much protein a day do you recommend for gaining strength and keeping tendons healthy? Minimum 1.6 gram per kilogram of body weight. I, if I told you my protein intake right now, you would think I'm kidding. It's a lot. It's excessive, but I'm doing specific stuff with body composition. All this water's making me get a little burpy, guys. Thought I was the only one with those dreams. Yeah, no, dude, you're not. You're not. James Owen says, "Hi, coach. I'm about to wind this down, man. You're getting in late. Currently on 12 milligrams. Had a dream the other week. I was in the world of Skyrim fighting dragons. Yeah, that sounds about right. 10 plus milligrams of melatonin. You had really awesome shout abilities, though, right? Do you think Disney completely ruined Star Wars? Some of the movies were really, really bad. The new series are great. Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. I loved both. I loved both. Right? I loved both. They're phenomenal. They ruined the movies, though. The last few movies were bad. Rogue One was bad, other than the ending with Darth Vader. That was the only redeeming quality of the whole movie. The other new stuff with, the whiny crybaby Sith guy who throws temper tantrums and all that's all bullshit. They ruined that. Hello, Jason. You often tout the benefits of eating 300 to 400 grams of protein. Could you elaborate the benefits? It has to do with recomposition. Ray guys always ask me, "Can you recomp?" And I'm like, I tell people it's not practically possible because they're not going to eat 400 grams of protein a day. Lazio, I'm going to ban you for even mentioning that clown. Bye. You know better than that on my channel. Ray, it really has to do with body composition benefits. Gregory, we don't talk about Konevsky either here. Please delete your comment so that I don't have to ban you. I don't know what situation he went through. I know he's a vile, evil person, and he's not welcome to contact me, nor is he welcome to show up anywhere near me. And he knows this. He has been told this. Do you eat MSG? Usually not unless I go to a Chinese buffet, personally. Do gear users benefit from more volume? Or are they better at training like natural? That's nuanced. That's nuanced. They can get away with more volume. I don't know that they always benefit from it. Gear gives you wiggle room. It gives you greater margin for error. Coach, you think Joe Biden is fit to be our president? Man, I don't want to get into political topics, but I could do an imitation for you. So I was at the pool pooping myself, and my leg hair was like a cockroach on a choo-choo train eating ice cream on the moon. Where am I? Oh, I'm the president. Yeah, that guy. No, man, perfectly mentally fit to be president. Guy should absolutely have nuclear launch codes. I feel extremely, extremely comfortable with that. And you have to admit that no matter what your political party is. Come on. All right. People can admit they hated Trump and that's why they voted for him, but they know that has Alzheimer's. Right. I watched my grandfather die of Alzheimer's. I've seen the signs. It's not pretty. So I'm not even saying that as a joke. I'm saying that because I've experienced it. I mean, let's be realistic here. Let's just be completely honest. You know? Ah, what a world we live in. No, Gregory, I didn't. Gregory, I don't watch YouTube Fitness. I haven't watched YouTube Fitness in years. I don't know what anybody's doing, whether they're talking about me or not. You know, is what it is. All right, guys, we're coming up on the hour. We had a little bit of comedy right there at the end to entertain a few of you. So I'm gonna go ahead and wind it down. I hope it's been informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love all of you, and I'll talk to you next time.